What's going on? I'm Zedmont. We are here on my main account, gonna be talking about that dirty four-letter word that many people in Boom Beach refuse to say, and that is tanks. Now, we're gonna be using tanks primarily because of this right here. The tank life leech tribe is just so strong. Now, I'm going to be doing all these attacks on my phone. I've got an iPhone XS Max. You do not need to have a tablet for Boom Beach. I highly recommend it, but all of this is going to be done on my phone. We're going to be doing all of this full boost, and I'm going to show you some ways to use tanks that I like to use them. They're actually pretty fun, and you can do a lot of things. Right now, you do not need any medics whatsoever. So medics definitely not required. We're going to try our best to do some things. I've marked some bases here. As you can see, I've got a T. That's for me to use all tanks, I think. Over here, we've got B. I'm going to add some bombardiers. And then S, I think, is for smoky tanks. Not entirely sure. Some of you might be noticing, I assume all of you are noticing, down here in the bottom left corner, we've got the face cam going on. Not super duper comfortable doing it, but I gotta do what the people are asking for. And first thing to know is with tanks, you want to use Bullit. Bullit is your man 99% of the time. I'm going to show you a time where you don't want to use Bullit, but Bullit energy drink, get him maxed, level him up, and very good things will happen. Now, the thing about Life Leech, just to go over super basic stuff that hopefully you all know, Life Leech, every single bit of damage the tanks do, they get back in health. So the more damage you're doing, the more troop damage statues you have, the more health they'll get back. I think the Mega Crab coming up this month should also include Life Leech. So if you're considering putting down some more troop damage statues, I have 5 of them. You are probably not going to go too far wrong. I really do like going 5/5, as you can see here, 5 GBE, 5 troop damage. I'm not a fan of green statues or ice statues. They do have their place, but it's not a place for me. So we're going to do some TB right here. Now, tanks are essentially just, we essentially have 3 bullets right now, and the reason for that is because they just have so ridiculously much health. And the bombardiers just stay in behind, and as long as we don't get grabbed by that back grappler, you know what, let's just get rid of that. I actually just used 3 barrages on it, which is far too many. Don't ever use 3 barrages back to back. Unless you've actually used a calculator. There are some fantastic calculators, by the way. Minecult.com, I believe, is the site. Bad start. We just lost Bullit. Again, not used to this whole looking up at the camera, looking down at my device. So I'm going to use that as my excuse for the moment. Overall, though, you can see like tanks are just getting shot but staying alive. All we really need to worry about is boom cannons with these tanks, because with the damage boost, they're healing themselves so much. Now, obviously, if I had troop health, these tanks would be even stronger. Troop health just makes every single attack, except for operation attacks, go better for the most part. And they do make some operation attacks go better too. So, first attack, using 3 tanks out front. We only lost a couple. Bombardiers in behind. I was not cautious enough about all the mines and things, so we lost a couple. But tanks, bombardiers, not bad. You can mix in like 1 boat of grenadiers if you really want to. I don't really think that's required. We're going to now switch it up as I try to get this device going. It's so weird. Looking down, looking up, yeah. Anyways, here we go. Got some tanks. We're going to go all tanks, and this is where we're going to do what I said not to do previously, and that is use brick. So I think I've got this down with an S or something. Yeah, here we go. So this base over here has a grappler, has a shock blaster, has a doom cannon, and they've got 1, 2, 3 boosted ice. So fairly difficult base, and if you're going to walk through this with tanks or medics, you're going to have to get rid of this, and this. Then they got all sorts of boom cannons by the core. So not super ideal. We're going to do things a little bit differently because this is one of my favorite ways to use tanks, and it's not a good idea. I don't recommend it, but it's incredibly fun. So we're going to give it a shot, and last face cam video, I got grief for smiling too much. Apparently either I'm nervous or happy. Either way, Please cut me a little bit of slack. This is new to me. We're going to let the tanks, I was going to say Bullit, let the tanks get way up ahead because tanks are ridiculously slow. I would absolutely love it if we could have a statue that did like troop speed or something. Oops, I need to get a little spot to go back here. Not an ideal start by any stretch. Little bit late on that flare, but managed to throw the flare while the building was still there, which was a bit of on the gutsy side, but we should be okay. We're gonna go like this. We're gonna throw lots and lots of smokes, and then we're gonna use brick and battle orders to hit the core because tanks do pack a wallop, as they say. We're going to throw some critters over in here and hopefully get this base down before we lose too many troops. Should be a piece of cake. Look at this. The core is just absolutely melting. Lost 3 tanks, and 3 tanks versus 3 boosted ice is a pretty good trade-off, especially without instant training. Obviously, it would save some time on troop loading. I have that luxury, thankfully. We've got instant training for the next 18 days. What we're going to do next is we're going to switch back to Mr. Bullit and go with what's called banks. If you've never used banks before, this is a standard Mega Crab layout, and I assume it's going to be the layout for this next Mega Crab, maybe with some bombardiers mixed in. Bank being bullet, tanks, combo words. I'm going to ignore the grappler this time because ignoring the grappler can actually be pretty fun as long as you're a little bit careful about who you let the grappler grapple. So I'm going to back off a little bit. There goes Mr. Bullit in about 2 seconds. Just leaving a smoke around the grappler means that whatever it grabs is going to be nice and safe and cozy in there. And that is, hopefully it's going to start grabbing tanks. And once it does, we're just going to have this kind of like double-sided attack where we're going to be attacking both from the front and from the back. Going to let some tanks accumulate underneath that smoke and then let all of our troops move forward at the same time. So it's a bit awkward, but it does work extremely well once you get back. See, now we've got some extra tanks back there, and we're going to start destroying some buildings from right next to the headquarters. It's not necessarily a great way to play, but it's something different, and your troops are going to get stuck underneath that smoke anyways, so rather than dealing with barraging a grappler, which can have a lot of health as we get a low power warning, you can just drop your troops, let them sit underneath that smoke, and then as a result, you end up getting nice and close to that grappler, taking down the boom cannon, and it works. So you can use grapplers to your advantage. I don't know why I keep calling them grapplers. It's just stuck absolutely in my head. But now, you know what? We're going to get rid of tanks for a minute. We're going to do an operation attack. And I'm going to try my hand at talking to you guys and looking at my device and doing a massive operation attack on Machina? It's an Italian. It's either an Italian or Latin word, and I just can't say it. I know there's like a Deus Ex Machina. I just call it Machina because it's easier. Kind of like I call it Quay instead of Key. This attack is one of my favorites. This attack can be done if you have 1 GBE statue. You don't need to have 5 or 10 or whatever the heck it is. You can do this attack with 1 GBE statue. What I'm doing with 1 GBE statue, I drop 1 boat of bombardiers on the right-hand side over here and lets them get all of these cells. You pick up a little bit extra GBE. Hopefully that grappler's not there. And then you just head left. You gotta clear some mines, obviously, but it's only 1 shock once you get to the core, and it is incredibly satisfying. And it blows people's minds. Like, people who haven't seen it before, when they see it, it's like black magic or something. So we're gonna clear some mines right in here. I like the tip on the right-hand corner of that rocket launcher that we just barraged. Gonna throw an artillery up the front. Always have to artillery those front 3. I don't think I've ever had a barrage that will take out more than 1 of them. If you do, your barrage is probably not in the right spot. And now we're going to throw a barrage right on the right front corner of that rocket launcher. And hopefully, we missed this mine. Need to get rid of this mine. I didn't scout enough. I probably should have checked to see if these are level 23 mines. Now, one of the advantages to putting bombardiers over on the right-hand side is that you end up only needing 2 smokes for the left-hand side landing. Using 3 smokes is required with the hero, sadly. This is not Ransom where you can actually get away with 2 smokes. I like to use this line right here. I better get moving. And then we're going to drop our Zookas just inside the smoke. 2, 3. Okay, so now keeping the delay here is very, very nice. And basically, I almost wanted to say required, but it's not. You don't need it, but it just makes your attack so much better. That way you're not rushing to throw that last flare. And if you are rushing to throw that last flare, it's going to be a bad time. So now you need to throw your smokes here and here on the corners of the machine guns. And that should get us nice and safe and cozy. Once they stop moving right about now, we're going to flare that machine gun, flare the core, and shock these back rocket launchers. These rocket launchers over here are not a concern. Don't have to look at anything on this attack except for this bottom shock. Watch that shock timer. Keep tapping Taunt occasionally, and down goes Machina. Pretty easy attack. Once you figure it out, it's one of those ones that once you figure it out, it's just becomes super, super easy. And like I said, I can do that like 99.4% of the time. And we got tons of GBE left, as you can see. I've got one more shock. We had an extra smoke. Boom! That's it for me. That's all. We're going to call it a day because most of my attacks were fairly alright, and you always lose 39 Zookas on that attack. I don't know what it is about the wrap, but when you wrap Ransom, you end up losing 39 Zookas as well. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Couple quick tips on tanks, a quick how-to on using Bullit with Machina. Make sure your taunt is maxed as well. It makes a huge difference. And that's all for me. Thanks for coming in. I'm Zedmont. Peace.